We just
Can
oh,
now.
how's it going, RJ William?
Hey, good to see you.
You are now live.
Let me grab one thing here. Are we live yet?
Oh yeah, go and grab it. It's fine.
Yeah, be right back.
No bother. While RJ William goes and grabs that one more thing,
Cat knocked it down.
we shall
Grab another one.
hold the line here in the lime. What's that?
Oh, there it is.
Lime pie green chair. It is the 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live, issue 36. It's
All right, I'm back. I got a mischievous cat.
time,
He likes to knock things down.
and it's 7 p.m. Brit time, just after, and we're live.
Oh,
So,
we're live.
how's it going, RJ William?
Hi there. Going pretty good. It's about noon here in Colorado, so we're in very different time zones.
Noon.
but
You're noon,
yeah.
R7.
Yep. It's
So no difference.
yeah. So you're in England, right?
We're in Britain, yes, and we reside in England. Absolutely do, yes. The birthplace of democracy. Well, not
That's
really.
right.
We're talking Greece, really, aren't we?
Yeah, well, you brought it back, and then we brought back a little more.
No, we don't talk about politics, sex, and religion in the show. Let's move on.
I do love England,
what
though.
we're saying. We're kind of like speaking mind to mind, like Spock with the Vulcan mind meld. We know what we're talking about there, don't we?
I do love England. I visited there a couple of years ago. Great country. Big fan.
Yeah. There's lots of nice places. There's Middle Kingdom of Nottingham, which we're quite partial to. No reason, just saying. And there's Whitby, which is the jewel of the north. And some people like to go to London for a day trip out. And of course, if you go north of Whitby, then that's where things really start to get interesting, he says cryptically. Do you know what we need to do? Guess what we need to do?
What's that?
We need to do, if we get the right one, we need to do this. Yeah. Oh, yes. We love it when it does that.
That is
absolutely
epic.
Do. What do you think?
That is epic.
It's kind of Hitchcock meets Planet of the Apes, isn't it? Old
really
school.
Is. Yeah.
Atmosphere, ambiance.
Right.
Right then. We are live. It's RJ William in the 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live hot seat tonight. Our current expert and honored special guest, the 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live, Azrael, chats to RJ William. Finally, after a few shall say kind of private DMs where we kind of had to go backwards and forwards, we finally made it happen.
Yeah, we had some scheduling snafus.
Yeah, you get that. You get it with our American cousins and that, and there's the time zone around where there's all sorts of things that happen to try and get through any communication to the overcast grey skies of a Nexus. It was windy the other day, and we couldn't make a phone calls heard. The wind was out. We thought, dude, we're surprised that anybody ever actually escapes the Nexus. It's such as its gravitational pull. So yes, Azrael, RJ William are going to have a chat tonight. It's art, comics, movies, games, and toys that we do. Think of them as eyes of a needle. A golden tapestry thread goes through art, which goes into comics, of course. We can't have comics without the art. And then comics get made into comic book movies for the last 10 or so years. They've been very successful, haven't they? In terms of the not so big too. And then obviously movies can be made into games. And games now more than ever are like interactive movies. In fact, games now eclipse movies for revenue by some order of magnitude now. That there was once a pipe dream, now it's an absolute reality. And obviously from games and movies you can get toys, and inside the privacy of your 7-year-old child self, you've got the ultimate movie budget, the ultimate comic book inside your head, as you can play with your toys and imagine anything because obviously in our imagination, it's unlimited. So the stories can be magnifique, they can be tour de force, they can be sensational. And there's nothing like the imagination, because in here, we create the universes. Now, please like and comment and subscribe. It's just like a free to do follow, like you do on X. You just log in, you don't have to pay anything, and it helps us grow the channel. We're one away from 150. So if RJ, you haven't done that, if you could do that as a wee favor to us. If you have already done it, brilliant. And
I am one of your subscribers.
Oh, good catch, RJ. We knew we could depend on you as a regular to our chat. It's actually good to have you in the actual hot seat, because you've been very supportive of our creative leaders from the chat point of view. It's Saturday, the 5th of July. The book we're talking about is Orion, and its full title is, sir?
Call Sign Orion.
Call Sign Orion. And we're doing 7 p.m. just after Greenwich Mean Time, London and UK time. So there's 7 hours between us and RJ with his mountain time. He's on 12 o'clock, but probably ready for a nice fry up in a couple of hours, maybe a nice all-American breakfast or something like that.
You know, I'm kind of partial to the English breakfast, believe it or not. I think you guys mastered it. It shouldn't be altered. It's perfection.
Well, it heartens our heart to hear you say that, that you're a fan of the full English breakfast. It is masterful. You've got the beans, you've got the Irish breakfast, you've got tatey falls, soda bread, you've got black pudding. I hope you're not feeling hungry just yet, but you will be by the time we've finished with you, Johnny.
Right. Bangers and mash, don't forget that.
Oh, mash, bacon. Oh, yeah, bacon and mash. And, you know, you can have hash browns with it as well, and double eggs. You can't just have one egg with a hash brown. You want 2 hash browns, 2 eggs. And anybody listening to this now going to thinking, is this a food show or a full English breakfast show, right, or an actual storytelling show?
Now you got bangers and mash, scones with jam. You know, that is my jam.
Oh no, dearie me.
And later I like to go downtown for a toasty.
It's scones. Now there's a debate. Just teasing you, man. We're just joshing. Right then, host introduction. Got to have a bit of fun with the guests, folks. It's all part of the fun, you know. We've got to laugh at all our problems. Yeah, we can't get too serious. We get a little bit serious, but we want to laugh at our problems too. Laugh in the face of puddles and pebbles. We speak cryptically by way of riddle. So hello there. Welcome to the 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live. In full baritone, full flight, we are here to talk art, comics, movies, games, and toys. I'm your host, Azrael, and my secret identity is Carl Prometheus, storyteller, artist, promoter of indie creators, indie comics, and indie comic community. We're doing our bit to help it grow. The bigger we get, the more we can shine a light on our indie comic creators in that gravitational, difficult inertia band of 1 to 1,000 plus. Very hard to lift or even push, Sisyphean stone. So we have to put all our shoulders against it. And that's how we beat the corporate guys who aren't so big anymore. And shall we say, they've forgotten us. Captain Kirk, as we sometimes say, is maybe gone slightly crazy and taken over the Enterprise, but we don't talk about such things. We try and keep our drama inside the indie comic. Our style is universal. We can be watched by creative families, creative adults, and the creative younglings, because more and more with indie comics, whole families want to create indie comics. And the legacy is passed on from father to son, from mother to daughter, you know, planting the seeds. So actually, we've replaced the classic corporate newsstand. We have become the newsstand by way of Johnny Appleseed. Rather than one big sunflower, we become Johnny Appleseed, and we just spread our seedlings and nurture them with love and TLC. So our motto is to listen, learn, and share on the show. And inspiring quote for you guys and gals out there: comics are an international language, or as we like to say, not guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen. Mind your P's and Q's, Azrael. We are speaking in the native mother tongue, of course. Comics are an international language. They can cross boundaries and generations. Comics are a bridge between all cultures. Osamu Tezuka, legend. Oh, yes. And now we go to the next slide. He won't say it, but we're going to say it for him because we should imagine he's quite a modest fella. Guest introduction, RJ William. Pros, RJ William at RJ-William, footnote, William 88 for call sign Orion. That's on X. rjwilliam.substack.com/p/coming-soon ? All we know about RJ is that he is somewhere in the Rockies, and his link tree /r.j.william is, as we just said, that he's a fine fellow who supports the 5 pillars of storytelling by submitting his indie comic consistently. And that's the key, folks. If you want to get people to water your seedling, you have to be consistent. And boy, is RJ consistently contributing to submitting his work to the Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday indie comic promos. He also supports our channel here on YouTube by taking part in our chat window to support our creative leader special guest. And today, he's the creative leader special guest of honor. Welcome to the show, RJ William.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Very good intro.
No, you're welcome. We like to say the good things. I mean, you're a writer, and your project is hotting up nicely over the past few months, you know, and on the, shall I say, on kind of like, first of all, you kind of have to register your interest, don't you? Have to sign up, and then all of a sudden you're on Fund My Comic and the crowdfunders live. And how's it going so far?
Not bad. We got 14 backers. We're about 7% funded right now on FMC. We'll be expanding pretty soon. Kickstarter and the rest. I just wanted to give FMC first dibs. I'm partial to that platform being pro free speech and all, and of course the owner of that platform is my artist. So, oh, there we go. Hey, look at that.
You're listening to us, bro. Azrael doing a bit of cosplay today. We had a lot of love in the 5 pillars of storytelling X community yesterday. The patriots, the freedom lovers, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, we the people, not some rich dude or a handful of rich families, but we the people shared some big, we would say, 5 pillars of storytelling love. We ended up with 80 plus followers just jumping on us, and we had to say thank you because we were brought up that way. We had to say thank you to everybody, and we kind of, every person that kind of got in touch, we said thank you very much, appreciate the love, and you've got to use your manners. When people give, show gratitude back. We're big on gratitude. We have a special folder for special comments and gratitude. We put them all in there, so it reminds us to appreciate people, that all people actually at their heart, most of them are quite good people, you know.
Yeah, that's that just warms my heart. The Captain America shirt you got there, you know, great shout out considering yesterday was our country's birthday, 250 years. And I'm drinking coffee actually out of my this mug here, Join or Die. It's from the ratification of the Constitution. I got it in the City Hall of Charleston, South Carolina, which is one of the places where the U.S. Constitution was ratified. George Washington actually went there. He had to convince people that signing on to the Constitution was a good idea. Because before that, we had a different document, a different governing document that we don't talk about much even in American history, the Articles of Confederation. And it allowed states a lot more autonomy. We didn't have a very strong federal government. We actually basically had no federal government. But yeah, the Constitution is what we've had ever since, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm in honor of our birthday being yesterday. I'm got my Join or Die mug right here from South Carolina, and you know a lot of people don't know this. More battles of the American Revolution were fought in South Carolina than all of New England combined.
Really?
Yeah, little known fact. But a lot of it was house to house. It wasn't really. It was mostly fought by militia, not so much the Continental Army. So that's probably part of it. But yeah, interesting little fact. But yeah, I'm very touched. And on that note, you know, my comic is about dystopian. It's dystopian science fiction. So
really, you've got the sense of, as somebody once said, one of your much loved freedom-loving leaders said, in a place like America, you're just one generation away from losing your freedoms. So keep hold of your freedoms, because they only take a generation to evaporate. And in light of the darkness wars over the last several years, which was about more than just one thing, which we won't get into, but where everybody suffered, and we saw things for how they actually were rather than what we wished them to be, and that the dangers in the darkness wars and how we have to kind of push back a bit and to protect our freedoms. And we would say that we admire a lot the freedom-loving Americans who fought very hard during the darkness wars to maintain those freedoms and to push back against the abyss, shall we say.
Well, yeah, it's a team sport, you know, the Allies all work together on that one. And, you know, England certainly did her part there. My grandfather was actually a fighter pilot. Part of the reason I made Call Sign Orion about fighter pilots, I even have these 3D miniature printouts.
Oh, go on, cool, nice.
Yeah. So my grandfather was he was a bombardier, more specifically.
So show us RJ, show us again. We'll put you on the big screens. Let's have another look at those.
So like they're modeled after stealth fighters. You can see like the triangular shape to them. I painted this one. Yeah, it's no expert job. But I went to the Warhammer store to learn how to paint these things.
Warhammer.
So this is the F-26 Aerostar. It's kind of modeled after the. I could share with you a page from my comic book here where they.
That's what we're about here.
Do you have it with you? If not, I could present it backstage for you.
Right, we've got a whole presentation to kind of work through.
Perfect.
Let's get into it. If we miss anything, we'll do the backstage thing. Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. So yeah, the design of the ships, the F-26 Aerostar, it's kind of loosely based on the Viper from Battlestar Galactica and the R-Wing from Star Fox, the American stealth fighter. Part of the reason I did that is my grandpa was a bombardier in World War II, stationed in England for the entire war. Flew a lot of his missions with the Tuskegee Airmen. So he's a big inspiration for the fighter pilot aspect of it.
So really, you've got legacy and heritage that you can bring to your indie comic book project, yeah?
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's get into these big 5 questions. I'm sure we can actually go into that in more detail because the whole beauty of the way we set the questions is it's nice, simple format. We shut up. We just ask you 3 simple questions. There's a couple more. It's 5 actually, but it's the who, what, why of RJ and his indie comic. So that way. It's like almost putting you on the psychiatrist's couch and going, tell us about your father, but not that quite kind of a serious, but, a kind of where you can just be free to chat. Because most guys do not get the chance to chat. They're working 10, 20, 30 years on these things in a man shed. And then a show's 2 hours. So what? That's like nothing compared to the 10, 20, 30 years he's been doing this. It's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Let's listen to guys. We get told all the time, express our feelings. But when we try to, hey, we don't want to hear you. Wait a minute. I thought you said you wanted us to talk and express our emotions. So here we go.
Very true.
Who is RJ William? Now, we're going to just say here, we're wanting your storytelling influences. Are you into sport? Any business background? About your business journey? Movies that you're into? And if you're a rock band or country and western band, what do you play when you've got your indie comic business plan? You're at a convention, you're standing up and giving people the talk and the sales pitch. What kind of music have you got? Queen playing in block vault in the background? Is it the Eagles, the Hotel California? So think about those kind of things. We've actually put a nice little quote at the bottom, which you can read if you want to, because sometimes we wear that when people just start. Sometimes people can freeze at the beginning and need a bit of help to get going. So we just put this little quote here. I've always had a passion to create stories, and we know that you're a firefighter too. So touch on everything. Who is RJ William, please? Go.
All right. Well, as it says there, I started out as a Disney intern because I wanted to get into the film industry.
Really?
Yeah. So I took business classes that were taught by within the company. Got college credit for those while I worked at Disney. They have a little college program where they do that. Some of their executives did it way back when it first started. It's been going on for a long time. And part of that was I was a lifeguard at the hotels, and through being a lifeguard, I was able to kind of overcome some personal obstacles. And then I thought, this is pretty awesome. How can I make a living out of this? So then my career took a turn. Became a firefighter, paramedic. I've been in EMS and fire for about 15 years now. But I always had that creative bug and wasn't really nurturing it too much. But in a lot of ways, it was kind of like writing was kind of my outlet.
Cool.
And then it kind of brings me to my friend. She's a big part of it, Lisa Foyles, and she's part of the campaign you'll see on Fund My Comic. She's on the trading card, or there's a character of her based on her, and then her mugshot's on there, and she's got these signed cards. That's part of the campaign. So she also writes, and she read a script I wrote, a feature length script, just kind of I made for fun. I wasn't expecting to get like a whole sci-fi Hollywood big budget movie made with it. But she said, this is a great story. Have you thought of animation? So then that was a little bit before Elon bought Twitter. And then I started, I got on just mostly out of curiosity, and I started looking for people who could draw, and that led me into like the CG Iron Age group, and I discovered Luke Stone. Started like making YouTube videos about stories mostly, and just started networking, to kind of make my idea a reality, and looking at people's projects, trying to assemble a creative team, get myself known. And then after, looking at Chrome Dog was really what drew me toward Luke's art.
Chrome Dog.
Yeah, because I had a specific vision of what the colors would look like mostly.
Yeah.
And then kind of like a more vague framework of like how I thought the art should look. And after seeing Chrome Dog, I was basically sold. Like Luke and his colorist Patrick Gamma were the team I wanted. So they're the main guys doing the interior art. Luke really kicked butt on the cover, leveled up, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, he did this time. Yeah, I mean, he's a good artist anyway, but just each time he comes back, you can see him cranking up another gear. He's got that stoic kind of quality in his art. To me, it's godly.
Well, he was even saying, like he's drawn so much since he made the 4 pages that are up on the campaign. That was about a year ago, and it's going to be almost look like a different artist, like a better artist is drawing the rest of the book now.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's already working on some pages now. I can't wait to see what he comes out with.
Yeah, when we saw that cover, we thought, that's it. That's the image we were waiting for. And once or twice when you've been, shall I say, contributing to the promos, we've said at intervals, this is the video we were waiting for. That is the image we've been waiting for. And it's probably commensurate with you waiting for them as well to come from Luke's stable, because obviously he's drawing them, and the art takes time. It just does. It's the nature of the beast. We can write a page relatively quickly. You know what I mean? Yeah, it takes time to put a script out, but to actually forge it in comic book art, it takes some doing. And when you're up leveling as well, he's going to want to push it. He wants to do a great job for you. He also probably wants to push himself as an artist as well. So there's probably a few things going on there. So please keep going with who is RJ?
So who is RJ? Still in Fire and EMS, still writing creatively, still networking, trying to get the book out there. I was very lucky to get to work with Mike Barron.
Mike Barron, no less.
The legend, yeah.
The legend.
I'm geographically close to Mike Barron, and we were able to meet in person and go over the script, and he edited the script.
He's very altruistic with up and coming talent, isn't he?
He really is. Like he didn't have to talk to me at all. Give me the time of day.
Heart, hasn't he? He's got an indie comic heart.
Absolutely. I mean, as big as he is, he doesn't have to give me any time of day, but he does, and it's been great. So yeah, I'm very lucky to have him as someone to work with. He's also doing, giving his 2 cents on the art. His bit of realism is already having a big influence. Like I wanted to put a big kaboom on a page that has an explosion. And then, as into realism as he is, he's like, there's no sound in space. You can't do that. I'm like, dang it. Take away the kaboom.
Yeah, that's experience, isn't it?
Yeah, but he is very experienced. And I think his influence is going to, help draw the reader in and keep you in the story. Yes. And it's in the end going to have a bigger impact. So I'm very lucky to have a great creative team.
Yeah, I mean, really to have a couple of mentors in terms of editing in that regard, and the art in terms of Luke. I mean, you've got Mike Brown and Luke. That's pretty sturdy foundations to help get you going in the comics community, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a very sturdy foundation to be building on.
Yeah, that's what you call experience. And I mean, Luke is so stoic. I mean, he's been through so much stuff, and he's setting up an indie comic specialist indie comic crowdfunder. It isn't just a corporate. Comics has a bit of a sideline, which the other two you could argue do, even though they're quite popular for indie comics. Fund My Comics is actually a specialist created from the ground up to actually focus on indie comics, and the rates are on commission. What, 1%? You can't argue with that. It's virtually
giving it away. You can't beat it. Yeah, you really can't beat it.
and we like the philosophy of freedom of speech, which, funnily enough, folks, ties up with those founding principles. Azrael, you're not going to keep doing that throughout the show, are you? You never know when I might do
it ties very well into the theme of Call Sign Orion, because it's very much about freedom versus tyranny, and one of the main storytelling influences is Starship Troopers. Another storytelling influence is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley.
We've got that by our bedside. It's our current novella squeeze, and we're going through the fourth preface. There's about 4 prefaces, and we're on the fourth one.
Yeah, it's a brilliant book. Classic, inspired a lot of the genre and work to follow. So those are 2 big influences, and then I embraced some fighter pilot, space, Battlestar Galactica type action, just to make it a little more fun and draw the reader in. But the theme is kind of Brave New World meets Starship Troopers. Yeah, so
Brave New World meets Star Troopers. That's Huxley meets
Robert Heinlein.
Yeah, very good, excellent. That's quite a collision, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
there don't be many people that do Huxley and Starship Troopers.
Right.
That's probably a unique combo. That's a 1-2 punch. That's a unique target audience, isn't it? But lots of people like insects and science fiction explosions and guns. So you've got basically most of the space market covered there. And Aldous Huxley, if you want a bit of the thinking person's reader, you can hoover up some of those as well.
Oh yeah, and one of my favorite movies is Demolition Man, which is also based on Brave New World, but also very much a summer blockbuster in itself. But it's also making fun of summer blockbusters. So it's a great smart parody. It's like dumb and smart at the same time, and that's kind of the angle I'm going for. I want it to be fun. I don't want it to require much thought, but it's going to make you think. Yes. You're going to have fun, and then you're going to think accidentally, and then you're going to say, "Dang it, RJ, why'd you do that to me?" Now I'm smart because I have thoughts and I'm thinking about stuff.
Hey man, you made me think. Don't do that again.
Right, but I am going to do it again. I'm going to make a sequel. That's also going to be fun. You can't help yourself.
Well, yes, that's what
and you're going to think. You're going to get addicted to thinking about things.
That's what we say, RG. We can't help ourselves. So it's nice to have 2 people in the studio that can't help themselves tonight. That should be interesting. So anyway, tell us more. I mean, so you like Battlestar Galactica. I mean, who doesn't like the main ship? The Battlestar Galactica kind of ship is so cool, like the mothership.
Yeah, the Viper.
And then you've got the Cylons in their ships, which are quite cool. The robot Cylons are cool, but also the ships they used to ride around in were quite cool. Go on.
Yeah, I don't have like a good picture of like the mothership, but I do have like, this is basically the equivalent of the Viper, the F-26 Aerostar. Very fast ship with lots of weapons.
Are you going to do these 3D printouts either for this book or for next book as merch?
I did, like prior to the launch of the book, I did like a campaign for the miniatures. I didn't get any backers, but it's hard to sell something like that when people don't know where they fit into the story. They know nothing about the miniatures themselves. I also had the trading card available before the launch, like as sort of a pre-launch thing. So some people are getting like a trading card, and some people are getting a trading card and a book at a better deal than what's available on the campaign right now. And that was just like some add incentive to like get people generate some buzz prior to launch. But since the miniature didn't get any attention and they are hard to ship, I don't have them up right now. Maybe later I'll make them available, if there's enough popular demand.
So it's something that perhaps you can work towards for the second book in terms of getting all the, shall I say, it's all about sourcing it, isn't it? Who's going to supply them and to a good quality for a fair price that people can actually invest in it as merch. But they are coming. I think John's Longbox for Heroic Tales, he's got some statues, and I think Peter Sametti on his campaign, Alternative Comics, I think he's had some. So they're actually creeping into indie comics as merch.
Yeah, they're getting more popular, which I like to see. Like I'm not a big fan of statues myself, but I like little toys to play with, and I just thought that's part of the fun. Like I sit here sometimes, it makes an awesome paperweight. It's just fun to look at. I obviously painted this one, sort of a. Oh yeah, you good?
No, sorry, I was looking at
Okay,
see if I had any toys to actually
okay.
bring over. Some friends. Say hello to my little friend Al Pacino style, but no, we're paying attention.
Okay.
Show us this one, please. We'll put
Yeah,
it on
this one it's kind of got like sort of a Clone Wars like paint job that's like amateurish, I know, but yeah, sometimes I like to just play with these guys. They're fun.
But the thing is, this is R&D for your next issue and for your third issue. If you're actually playing around now, that's part of it, isn't it? Not all ideas come fully sculpted and fully formed. You might think, right, I've got this idea for some spaceship merch. If you're going to do Battlestar Galactica meet Starship Troopers, what are you thinking? You're thinking insect merch. You're thinking spaceships. It's spaceships, isn't it? It's the Star Wars kind of merch thing. So
Absolutely.
it's better to explore it now and work out how you're going to paint it. How you might even get some supplies that can actually 3D print it in color. You might even think about somebody who's a ZBrush artist. Have you heard of ZBrush, which is like digital clay? Well, we've actually done some ZBrush modeling ourselves, so we know it's not impossible to do. Yeah, we did a demon. It's actually on our art channel. We've got the 5 plus the storytelling, but we have got a separate art channel which shows some more. We'll link it to you in DMs later, and you can look. But like I say, our schools are a bit rusty, but we know there are people out there actually that we're in contact with that might be able to maybe model your ships, or you just put an advert under your pin and say, look, I'm after some ship merch for my next book. Can you send samples of your ships in style of Battlestar Galactica, Silent ships, and here's some of my prototype work. If you can make it, take it on the next step and show it painted and etc. And then people probably send you some DMs, put photo of their work, and you're up and running for the second or third issue.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
And they might even tell you which suppliers to use to get the best price. You could also ask that question of Peter Simeti and John's Lombox. That's the beauty of indie comics. We can share this knowledge. We're not empire hoarders like the corporate big two, or not so big two anymore. They used to be big in the 50s. Now they're not so big. The days of 500,000 sales for the big not so big two are long gone. I mean, we're looking at what, 10 to 25,000 on average sales.
Yeah, it's the empire is crumbling.
Well, yeah, where that scene in Lord of the Rings where there's an orc army thinking, how do we get this? How do we sort this out? Well, you just call upon the Green Spirit army, and all of a sudden the orcs melt away. Saying we just got to use shoulders and one another and take the horde mentality, just like overrun, like the mammals and the dinosaurs, of course. So what kind of are your favorite movies, and what kind of music would you have if you were walking into a convention and Azrael was there and you wanted to sell me any comic? What's your kind of, hey, this is my catchy theme tune, this is what I rock and roll to?
So I think the best, the vibe, I'm actually talking to a musician right now to get a custom, like actual musician made soundtrack, like just for the trailer, But the best vibe, that what I told him like just a little bit ago, the vibe, like the song that kind of captures it, would be like Orion, Metallica's Orion, which is funny enough. I didn't make Call Sign Orion just because of Metallica, but it does fit the vibe perfectly because we're talking about space battles and stuff. And like the one they did like in the end credits and like Through the Never, the movie they made, that's I think the best song that really captures the vibe. I would also maybe incorporate some like late 90s techno, new metal kind of sound, kind of like Blade, I guess, like the Blade soundtrack. That's kind of the feel of it.
Yeah, we like Metallica's the one where the guy's in the military hospital. We thought we thought they did a good job on that, of bringing the aggression, which they're quite obviously very good at, but also bringing the tenderness of Metallica, which we felt was sometimes conspicuous by its absence. So that one it adds plenty of melody for us. We like lots of melody along with our bone crunching rock, which Metallica can certainly do.
Yeah, they're very well balanced in their songs.
Good.
Yeah, that's basically what
So
what you
Metallica
hear.
or your theme tunes. Actually, that's your business plan. That inspires you, that gets you going, and maybe some '90s techno kind of tunes as well.
Oh yeah, like a mix between like the Blade soundtrack of like the first two movies, especially, and like Metallica for sure.
Good. What is your absolute favorite Metallica song? Just to confirm.
That's hard to say because they're also different. They got a variety, like we were talking about. They're very well balanced. It's hard to like pin it down. I'd say maybe either Seek and Destroy or Fade to Black would be like a tie depending on my mood.
Favorite album? And Justice for All or another one?
I don't know because like they're so like fast and kill them all. In the younger days before arthritis set in.
Arthritis will come to us all. You keep using those hands, and God knows.
But they never slowed down. Like they just changed and evolved. So it's hard to say. I don't know if I have a favorite.
Band.
Ride the Lightning's a great one. For Whom the Bell Tolls is awesome. But I don't know.
Yeah, we've heard of some of those.
Yeah.
Right then. So then, favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? That's another hard to say. That's like, what's your favorite Metallica song? Like, it depends on the mood. Like, I like it for different reasons. Like, Forrest Gump is one of my favorite movies of all time. Doesn't have anything to do with Call Sign Orion. It just is a good movie.
But it's got a human core, yeah?
Right, absolutely. Like, favorite sci-fi movies, like, it's science fantasy with Star Wars, obviously. Like, who didn't grow up loving it? But like I also like kind of like wacky dystopian things. I like I said, Demolition Man, classic.
Good job. It does have a kind of comedic aspect, but there's a serious underbelly to it as well.
Right.
It got the balance quite well though.
Yeah, and that's my tone. Like it like how do I write fiction, and how do I think about like this kind of fiction? Demolition Man very much like strikes like how I think about fiction. Now that Call Sign Orion is not so wacky. It's definitely more serious in its tone, but I definitely try to have a fun yet serious approach to it.
That's what I
like. The Fifth Element is just fun. That's a fun movie. I do like other actions. I like noir. I like noir books. I read a lot of noir books.
Noir, we like noir. We like noir. We do like it loads. It's our channel started off on the 5 Pillars of Storytelling with noir being, in fact, our profile picture was the Maltese Falcon, Humphrey Bogart, and a scene where he's been worked over by some of the boys in a kind of movie moment there on our main banner, and then we changed obviously our face, which isn't Humphrey Bogart, and the 5 Pillars of Storytelling to be a little bit more precise about what value we're trying to bring to the community. But noir is something that's still quite, I think it's timeless, isn't it? That's why people like it. It's black, white, and grey morality. It's high contrast values, black, white, and grey. Go on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you're saying, it is timeless. That's why we're still talking about it a century later. But yeah, I'm a big connoisseur of that. That's mostly like what I read. I like all the classics too, and sci-fi. Nautical stuff, oddly enough, like nonfiction especially. Yeah, those are like probably my main influences.
Right, then let's move on. Right, number two question, the big question number two: what does R.J. William create? Elevator pitch, convention table pitch. Azrael has flown over mere puddle and pebble that separates us, and he lands next to the convention table, sponsored by who else but the stoic Luke Stone of Fund My Comics. They're sponsoring an event for all those indie comic creators, and you're there, RJ, fighting side by side in the abyssal fight. And bringing hope to a new indie comic dawn at the wild frontier of indie comics. What is your sales pitch to Azrael, who lands by way of angel wings?
I would say, hey Azrael, you like classic stories about heroes that stop the bad guy, save the girl, save the world. You like explosions, fighter jets, babes. You're gonna love this.
Yeah, Yes, yes. Our tasting, quote unquote, ladies is a classified subject. It's just we have to behave ourselves on our show. We are an angel of mystery. He looks at this. In fact, we're looking through the nexus, swirling grey clouds that are trying to hide the sun as we speak. We're in an attic studio and the skylight is open. But yes, the clouds are looking ever turbulent in the nexus. We wonder what they are saying to us. Something. So yes, you're saying that basically you've got a lot of the core ingredients to grab an audience. Yes, you've got the classic princess. You might have a feisty princess.
She's definitely more feisty. She's not your classic damsel in distress. I mean, so our love interest in this book, Diana Lawson, she's a combat medic and she's one of the hostages that needs rescued, but she definitely holds her own. As you'll see in the book, she's no damsel in distress.
So it's more from that Princess Leia school of thought, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, having been brought up by 11 feisty ladies in our time, they all had grace, but feistiness, if you trod on their emotions, you'd soon know about it, yes? So, yes, to have a strong female character goes down well, we feel, you know what I mean, with both males and the female audience. If you want to reach half your audience, that is, would be female, yeah? And for many a year, whether it's comic shops or the gaming industry, we had a lot of people were just ignoring the pink purse. And you know, if you take a market as 2 million, you've left £1 million on the table, haven't you?
Right.
By not investing that, you know. So actually, being conspicuous or mindful or focused on is our story balanced? In fact, we had one of the previous guys, actually, it was Nine Realm Publishing. They brought in a strong female character to supplement. They looked at what had maybe gone wrong with maybe the second book. You know, the first book had done ever so well, but then you get the classic second issue dip, don't you? Because it's no longer a number one issue. So you're going to have a drop off, but to actually combat that, they brought in a really strong female character, well designed actually by the artist from Nine Realms Publishing. We've got the digital book, we can't get going to read that, but he actually managed to succeed in getting the hologram foil cover done. So we're looking forward to that when it actually arrives to us. So we actually back that one. So in terms of what you're saying is you've got the strong female lead, you've got explosions, you've got spaceships. So if you're into that classic sci-fi kind of nature of things, yes, you're kind of fulfilling that need, you know, a classical sci-fi, almost from that Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica kind of era.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely a throwback to that. What's that?
But with a sense of humor.
With a sense of humor a bit. Yeah. This book, yeah, it's there, you know, it's there at the right times. It takes itself seriously, and I think it earns that seriousness. Like I said, we took out a kaboom just for realism, and I was really tempted to put that kaboom in there.
I know, RJ, I know.
That's the touch of my editor, who was, you know, a seasoned veteran. He's my comic book sensei, teaching me some restraint there.
Mike Barrett. We remember when he was working on The Flash, and he was at the United Kingdom Comic Book Convention, and he was just starting out with Nexus with Steve, the dude Rude. Yeah,
Steve Rude, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, what a fine artist. What a fine comic book artist. The Twin Towers. I mean, you can actually go and see him and watch him on his channel. It's Star Trek technology, isn't it? To actually watch a master at work. I mean, you wouldn't have had that in the 80s, but back when Nexus was happening, you were lucky to get something Wizard in the early 90s that showed you how an artist would scribble his doodles. Okay, movie voice, Call Sign Orion. Do you want to read it, or want us to read it in a movie voice? Go for it, RJ.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Call Sign Orion. Here we go. And we've got more in-depth ones, so we're going to get a bit of practice with our movie voice. Here we go. Driven by personal stakes, Orion must lead an elite unit in a space battle to stop a genocidal maniac, save his girl, and of course, save the world.
I like it. That was well delivered.
And that's what we're doing. So really for you, it's classic sci-fi with judicious humor, but with strong female lead, and it's got powerful players that can deliver a classic sci-fi story, you know, like a good all-American beef steak hamburger.
Yeah, I was pitching it on a different channel, and they said, you know, it kind of sounds like the kind of like action movie that they don't make anymore. It sounds like an 80s action movie in space. It does have a bit of maybe like the plot, like kind of does have a little bit of Die Hard inspiration. I think there's a hostage situation, bad guys.
So there is that sense of pulling on that blockbuster appeal. So you're going for widescreen, almost block vocals there. A bit of 80s, big hair, big vocals, big explosions. We're getting a lot of big in this, RJ. We like your thinking. Big is big.
We are.
What do you like about that? We're all going to try and behave, but not too much. Right. Tell us about this cover, please, RJ.
So a lot of the action in the book revolves around a space battle near the M42 Nebula, which is a real place in the Milky Way, and that's Orion in the foreground, and all hell's breaking loose in the background. He's leading his elite team of alphas, which are the story takes place 1,000 years in the future. So the alphas are basically the Navy SEALs of the Union, which is Earth's global government, which also has a lot of extra planetary. Interplanetary territory. They're kind of an expansionist power, and they're in a big conflict with other civilizations in our galaxy. And all hell breaks loose in this battle right here. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
The two computer games that we were thinking about when we were thinking about the sales pitch we'd give this, when we occasionally go into our, shall I say, idiosyncratic speech on X to promote something, we're always looking for a new spin. And one thing we did mention, a classic 80s 8-bit, if you're a Commodore 64 fan, as we were, legendary diehard fans of that we were during the 8-bit wars. And there was a game called Elite, and it was a space combat game where you trade to work your fortune up and try and avoid the mercenaries that might loot your ship or blow you to bits. And one of the things we said was, this looks more dangerous than Elite Dangerous, which is the modern iteration of it available for PC. And you can basically, it's like an MMO, you can go around the galaxy, very realistic graphics for these days, and trade away, be a mercenary, land on planets. And it's almost got that Starship Troopers vibe to it. You've got competing factions and tribes in space and stuff like that. So we thought, this is an example of what you're talking about earlier about Luke Stone leveling up. Let's go through the layers, shall we? In the foreground, you've got cool armor, glistening, as we said in one of the promos for you, buffed like a nice car in a showroom, like an Aston Martin buff, and it's gleaming. And you've got the sword here, and you've got laser rifles, you know what I mean, pulse cannons. You've got people in cool armor, and that's on the next level. And you've got dust clouds, and then in the back, that's in the middle ground, and then in the background you've got all hell breaking loose with spaceships and different factions competing and almost like a galactic scale. So you've got the miniatures playing down here, the armies on the ground level, but then you've got it taken off with Space Force, quote unquote, in the heavens above, where you've got vague similarities. Does one looks like is it like a silent mothership there, just away the top tier of it, because it has the two cake tiers, doesn't it? The silent mothership, you know,
it is a bit like that, yeah.
Just if we just put our pointer there, just the top bit of it, and I thought, hey, you're using influences. That's what you do. You create from what you're inspired by and what you love. And that's the beauty. You take what you love and put a spin on it. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Lovely cover. So you're quite happy with Luke Stone's cover?
Oh yeah, I think it's amazing. Yeah. The
go on.
Oh yeah. They're actually, they land. There's a part of the story where like they land on the ship because their suits, as you can see, they could fly. So like they're like on the surface of one of the ships that's getting hammered. So this is all space, but it looks like they're like on the ground maybe, and like there's atmosphere.
Land on the ship,
so it's all outer space because it's in a nebula. So that's like the kind of pastel colors. That's where that comes from, like lights being diffused through the nebula.
Absolutely. There's no flies in you. You know about your diffusion and lights and colors.
Well, that's Patrick Gamma. That's to his credit. He's an excellent colorist.
Yeah. Well, I have to say he's done a top-notch job on the coloring. It's just the depth cueing as you go in, foreground, middle ground, background. It's on layers. You can feel yourself going in. It's creating depth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like you got the darker blues and farther away from the action. That's more outer space, and then you get closer to the action. you're in the nebula on the ship and there's explosions, so it's brighter colors. It looks like you can't tell if it's a sunset, if they're on the ground, what's going on, but it's nebula space battle, so it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. We'd use the word epic.
It is epic for sure.
Variant cover.
Variant cover.
One. This is almost our favorite, by the way. There's a softness to it, and we like the other one. It's epic. But when we saw this one, we thought, oh, that's interesting. There's a kind of softness to us.
Oh yeah, this one was done by Anthony Romano and Doc Blaylock. I approached Doc Blaylock because I like his noir, A Damn Dirty Thing, and he did the cover for A Damn Dirty Thing. Looks a lot like a movie poster, you know. And I thought it would be fun to have like a 70s, 80s style movie poster for like a sci-fi movie. And I asked him to do that for me, and Anthony Romano did the colors for it. And I love how retro it looks. It looks like a Saturday morning cartoon you might have watched as a kid.
Yes.
Which I kind of do. You know, that's a big part of the influence. That late 20th century era of sci-fi is a big influence. So I love that it kind of calls back to that.
Back when you actually had Saturday morning cartoons, it was a lovely era. You know, to me, you've got Space Ghost, you've got Valley of the Dinosaurs, you've got so many cartoons, you know what I mean? And, back when the drawing was a little bit less crazy, more classical tradition, you know? Some of the cartoons now are a bit, I don't say almost too caricatured, but maybe it's just our tastes. We're more Alex Raymond and Bern Hogarth, and John Buscema, if we sound a bit old-fashioned in that way.
Yeah.
So you're happy with this variant cover then? Yeah, we like it. It's very soft.
I think it's great. Yeah, I love the retro look and feel of it.
Yeah, we'd be certainly tempted by that one. We like that one. We do. The other one's epic. This one is retro, and in a way that we find appealing. Right then, here we go. Story. Who's going to do the story reading, RJ?
Oh, you do it. You got the great narrator voice.
Here we go. We're going in, folks. We might even use a bit of baritone. It might happen, yeah. It might happen. Right, story about this campaign. In a galaxy teetering on the brink of war, an elite team of soldiers embarks on a perilous rescue mission. As they navigate treacherous space battles and intense close quarters combat, they must thwart a genocidal mastermind's escape. Driven by personal stakes, including one soldier's desperate quest to save their beloved, the team's courage and loyalty will be tested in ways that could alter the fate of the universe. Call sign Orion is an action-packed thrill ride in a dystopian science fiction world that is reminiscent of classics like Starship Troopers and Brave New World, with space battles that remind you of Battlestar Galactica. Follow Orion, the leader of an elite special forces team called the Alphas, as they face down the galaxy's greatest threats in the year 3025.
Excellent. Well done. You should do movie trailers.
We'll get some lozenges in. You can do that. And a nice delicate brew of Guinness, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
And obviously, we'd want maybe a cool microphone.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
We should have this, actually. It's supposed to give you a richer sound. We will try it. We almost did it for the show last week, and it actually puts the sound in through your earplugs.
Yeah, that's what I've got here.
Yeah. But we find that sometimes it feels a bit constraining on us. So we might give it a try for one show. We'll see how we get on. We'll try for one. We'll try and see if we can get the movie voice going. So then, yes, we've done the movie voice. We've got the story. Now, tell us about the first 4 pages. We're going to go through each of the 4 pages from My Comic campaign, folks. The link is in the description for the show stream, and you'll be able to get to Fund My Comic and call sign Orion. Tell us about this first page, please, RJ.
All right. So the 4 pages that are completed that you see up on the campaign page, they're taken from the middle of the book because they capture part of the space battle, both the dogfighting in space that you see on this page, and then later when they go interior on the ship, most of the action takes place inside the ship. It's called the Cleopatra. It's a merchant marine ship that was taken hostage by the bad guy faction. They're called the NIR, yeah, they got the hostages. So there's this like rescue mission that they're going after the hostages, and there's a big fleet of NIR ships that are protecting the Cleopatra, holding it hostage. And you see like the tail end of the space dogfighting action here on page 19 of the book. 42 pages of story. So I think that's a great deal for the price we're offering. Pages. But yeah, you see the Alphas and their F-26 Aerostars shooting down some of the NIR ships in the first panel there. Archimedes, he's like the technician on the team. In the second panel, he's landed on the ship and he's working on disabling their shields. He says shields down, and Orion then he's being shot at, slams the brakes, shoots down these guys, and then blows up the ship bay, the hangar bay door on the ship. And that's where I really was tempted to put a big kaboom, but you know, you wouldn't hear it. There's very little atmosphere in a nebula, so maybe you hear like a kaboom. It wouldn't be a big kaboom. So we just have no sound effect there.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's realism there. Movies, isn't it? The thing about the Star Wars movies is you wouldn't hear any of those sound effects.
Right.
It's called suspension of disbelief, I guess. But we have to bow to Mike Barron on this one. He's your editor. He's telling you. And if you listen to him, chances I'd be more primed for success.
That's right.
Master Yoda.
Yeah, he is Yoda.
Well, indeed. Second interior page from my comic. Please tell us.
Yeah, so this is the ships. The F-26 Aerostar can communicate with the suit that the Alphas wear, and they have a chip, like a brain chip, that links up with their suit, and they could also talk to their ship. So they could just think about it and be their own airstrike. They could fly it remotely, and their suits also have the ability to fly. So you see Orion flying out of his ship, landing in the hangar bay where he just blew open the door with his missiles. Some NIR guys take shots at him. He's so fast because he has biological enhancements. He just sprints, does a somersault over them, shoots them down. They're hitting the ground by the time he lands, and his guys are coming in behind him. And then they seal up the door so the atmosphere is sealed inside the ship and doesn't suck out all the oxygen.
Of course. So what we do like the design on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the pose and the design on this Space Marine here.
The design's very cool. I think it kind of reminds me of Johnny Quest a little bit, you know, and just the way the guys are drawn. But yeah, it's got that classic feel to it for sure.
Yes. Interior page 3.
So now you're seeing people have commented on like the pastel colors, but I think that does add some realism because you got to think there's the nebula outside, and then now they've got this kind of shield they've made. So you got like diffusion on diffusion, and you would see all these bright colors being, kind of presented to your eye in that same kind of way. So now that the atmosphere is sealed off, they could take their helmets off. So because their suits just act like an appendage of their body, they could think about it. Their helmets just fold down. So that's what you see. You see Orion's face revealed. You see the other team members revealed there. He's got 2 alien team members with him.
Cool.
They all have these dual pistol wielding action that they could just combine into a rifle, doubles the range and the power. And now they're going in and they're being watched on a security camera by Viper, the leader of this NIR group. He's their second in command, and he's a bit worried now because he's got some bad dudes on board with him.
Tell you what, dual use weapons reminds us of a computer game we used to play around about the time when we got our MA in computer animation. And one of the naughty games we played that year, along with our coursework, was Unreal Tournament. In Unreal Tournament, you had a ladder, a kind of deathmatch ladder. Imagine you're playing Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Space Marine, and you've got different types of weapons for this game. You've got the sniper, you've got flat cannon, and they've all got an Alt button, a right click. So the flat cannon, you fire a molten bomb at somebody, but then the right button fires molten shrapnel which is good for bouncing around corners to get somebody who's around the corner who might be hiding to try and lay you out. It's first person kind of shoot 'em up kind of thing, yeah. But we like the idea of dual use weapons. It's cool. And also on the pastel thing, which pastel is very much an 80s thing, isn't it, as well? So that goes well with your influence of Battlestar Galactica and other such movies. And actually, the hue of Starship Troopers isn't too far away from this as well, with those kind of epic blues and the kind of like the sandy kind of colors of the ground and the dust clouds. So there is, in terms of your influences, we can see it. Well, is that intentional?
Oh yeah, it's intentional. I think it definitely is consistent with the look and feel of the influences of what I'm going for. I think it fits in well with that retro 70s, 80s sci-fi movie poster you see there. So yeah, definitely consistent with it.
Absolutely.
I think even the bad guy here, Viper, he looks like a G.I. Joe, you know.
G.I. Joe. Well, I tell you what, we did like our Action Man. We'll have to confess. Our favorite Action Man was, who's your favorite Action Man, or G.I. Joe as you called it in the States? Palatoy rebranded it for the British market and called it Action Man.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, we even did a Toy Tuesday special that quite a while back and actually talked about all different types of Action Man and how he got put out by Star Wars figures that were basically a third of his size and didn't have grippy hands and were solid plastic. And he had fuzzy hair, eagle eyes, grippy hands. You had cloth outfits, not plastic. I mean, really, how he got beat by Star Wars figures, it's just whatever the flavor of the moment was. Star Wars was excellent, of course. But for the Star Wars merch to actually take out Action Man, that's a show. Who's your favorite ever G.I. Joe?
I don't know. It'd be between like the ninjas, like Snake Eyes and Cobra, the bad guy. I like villains, but you could see the influence there. I mean, I always thought it was cool that like a modern day soldier would carry a sword around, and you see Orion, that's his signature weapon. Which, you know, Orion is his call sign, but that's consistent with like Orion from Greek mythology too. Like Greek mythology, Orion's a demigod. He's a hunter. He carries a sword around in some versions, a club in others. So yeah, that's his signature weapon. It's the wakizashi. It's the shorter samurai sword. That's more of a samurai used it as like a defense weapon, but Orion used it as like a kind of like his blade, like his sidearm, his bladed weapon.
Yes, yes. Tell you what, sounds like Orion can handle himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's kind of a mix of like Steve Rogers and Xander Cage and Triple X, because being dystopian, he was in prison for like a very minor crime, but he's also a misfit in society because he's allergic to their version of the somas that they take in Brave New World.
Yes.
So he doesn't quite fit into his own society. He was a convict, and then he was selected for his abilities, and they gave him some biological enhancements, and he became a super soldier then. So he's kind of got like a Triple X and Captain America sort of background to him. But he certainly handles himself.
Triple X and Captain America. I tell you what, you haven't mentioned it, but we're going to mention it. We wonder if that's Luke Stone playing himself. Just saying.
No. Why? I don't think he looks like Luke, or is like Luke in his background.
He's blonde haired and blue eyed, isn't he, Luke? We just wonder if a little bit of Luke Stone has kind of slipped in there.
I don't think he is. Luke's not. No. Luke's got darker hair.
He does have darker hair, yes.
Yeah.
Right then. Yes.
Yeah, actually, you know what? The person who I told Luke to draw him after, and I think he did a good job on it, was more of Casper Van Dien from Starship Troopers, and I think he definitely resembles him there.
And Steve Rogers.
He's got a little Steve Rogers there too, yeah.
Yes.
Which is an influence.
Tell us, it's getting fruity here. Tell us what's happening.
So they make their way interior, and they're getting some resistance from the NIR soldiers. There's sort of a Star Wars-esque exchange of gunfire that you see in the hallway. You know, I considered in the script, like, do I want them to just like throw grenades around, you know, but you know, a spaceship is probably a bad idea. You don't want to blow up your own ship, and it's got hostages in it. They just work to seal off the atmosphere. So there's an exchange of gunfire. And as you might expect from elite soldiers, they're the better marksmen. So you see the NIR getting shot down there. Orion gets a bit closer and draws a sword. He's simultaneously shooting and swinging and taking guys out left and right because he's so fast and skilled. and these NIR soldiers are just getting mauled, and now they're crying for the paramedic. And then there's Diana Lawson. She's a paramedic, and she's one of the hostages, and she says, I'm going to need that guy. And they're going to work to stitch up some wounded soldiers here. And then Viper, the main villain, he's taunting Orion at the end, Orion and his guys, and he's got to back the book to see what unfolds next.
Yeah, there's what we call a bit of bite to it, RJ.
Yeah, the cliffhanger.
You don't have to tell us, but do you actually enjoy that sequence?
I do.
Just go to the local butcher's. I'll have some sausages, please, sir, and some Philly steak. That's what we bought today. We went to a local butcher's and we bought some Philly steak.
It's definitely it's definitely like a PG-13 book.
So it's on the edge, would you say?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, it's got its audience. The target audience has been well explained, and it's just a case of keep going. You get the quality product. What you got to do? You got to make some quality noise. That's what marketing is. Right then, tell us about the creative team. We'll let you read this one out, RJ.
Dystopian sci-fi in the spirit of classics like Starship Troopers and Brave New World, with a little Battlestar Galactica thrown in. Edited by Mike Barron, drawn by Luke Stone, cover B by Doc Blaylock, and Dark Gift Comics as Anthony Romano. Only on Fund My Comic.
Oh yes, only on Fund My Comic with the stoic titan Luke Stone.
That's right.
Specialist indie comic platform with 1% commission fees. He's giving it away, folks. Try them first, and then if you have to go to Indiegogo and Kickstarter, by all means. Quite a few indie comic creators have actually done Fund My Comic, and then they've gone to the other two, or they've started on Kickstarter, then Indiegogo, and then they've gone to Fund My Comic. And it makes sense to actually try your book on all three, because you might have people who are platform loyal. People get used to be on one thing, and then they won't move. They kind of stuck to it like a barnacle on a rock. And it's just sometimes people work with something, they know it, and they don't want to learn something new all over again. So actually targeting your audience in a bespoke way isn't such a bad idea. You kind of hoover up more people to your book, and that's what you're about. I mean, if you think of it this way, in terms of revenue streams, Fund My Comic, Indiegogo, and Kickstarter, that's 3 revenue streams. The figure's going to vary on each one, and you'll find the one that is home, but then you can still get some party Susan in terms of using Tupperware kind of terminology. I shouldn't know about stuff like that. Folks out there, don't judge me. Just the area that you brought up in. And I'm blushing now. But
I'm not even following you here.
It's all right. Do a YouTube search on Tupperware.
All right.
Our reputation will be in tatters. Anyway, moving swiftly on. But yes, the idea is that if you have different tribes, you can get revenue from each one, because some people are loyal to a platform. Why? Because they get along with that platform. That's it. People are comfortable with what they're comfortable using. That's not such a bad thing. So actually going out to meet your audience where they're at, it's no bad thing. If it means extra money, those might be the differences catering to Indiegogo and Kickstarter, or vice versa with Fund My Comic. That might be the difference between your book funding or not. So a thought for folks out there. So yes, we've got what we call here a Trinity gilded creative team here. When you've got Master Baron in your studio, and the stoic Luke Stone, and you've got cover B by Doc Blaylock, very like that retro tenderness, and then obviously you've got the coloring as well, which, what can you say, man? I mean, the coloring is it's got that pastel nebula look that you need for call sign Orion. Right, next slide, folks. Tell us about the stretch goals, please, RJ.
So yeah, this was actually by popular demand. Someone said, "Do you have a patch?" And I said, "No, I don't have a patch." But they're an elite unit. They would have a patch. So I had a friend of mine design this patch, and this is now the official patch of the alphas. Put it on, your luggage, put it on your clothes, wherever you want to put it. This is a stretch goal. It's going to add a layer of authenticity and fandom. Going to be a fun conversation starter. So that's what stretch goal number 1's all about.
I'll tell you what, we like that. Cool design. You do that yourself?
No, I didn't. Actually, a friend of mine did that.
All right. I like that. It's very striking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the black with the blue and the grey. It's very striking design, that. And it's got the nice nebula in the background, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's stretch goal number 1, yeah?
Yep.
What about this one here, stretch goal number 2? You've got the cosplay cover. Know that John's Longbox was just on the Discord chat, and one girl who he's friendly with just said, yeah, I could do some cosplay for you, know? And then he's turned it into an alt cover.
Yep. Strong move and similar move on my part. This is just me getting by with a little help from my friends. So I mentioned my friend Lisa Foyles, writer, also musician, also actor from, you may know from All That and Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle.
Does a lot of reporting herself, has done game journalism, local stuff to do in Las Vegas where she lives. And this is her, she did the trading card. That's her character, Lena Riley, news reporter, does story exposition. She'll be a recurring character in the series. So yeah, signed trading card, and she's looking forward to doing this cosplay cover. Help us get to that goal, guys.
Just another thing, actually, you know, if you're at a convention, there's no reason why you couldn't have your friend cosplaying the character at your stand to bring attention along. How do you consider that?
I mean, that's a brilliant idea. I think I'm, you know, maybe down the road do cons and, you know, do it big with production value, but I think you're onto something.
Audience, I mean, again, it's all about how do you sell it. You know, I mean, you've got people that have dressed up as the characters themselves and stuff like that, or hired actors to actually sell, you know, and if she's good friends, she might be up for that. Maybe when you're you maybe on your first, second, or you've got 3 issues in the bank,
right,
and you've got traffic and you've got an audience, and it's worth her turning up and worth you paying her to turn up, or maybe having a whereby, I don't know, it's mutual kind of advertising, and that just sometimes when you do favors for one another, it's payment in kind, isn't it? It's like bartering, like trading services. Yeah,
and cons are great for getting stuff out there. I've thought of like maybe like if when I get to that point, like doing like newsprint things. I have some like physical items here, so like this is the trading card here. And then this part's going to be signed. This is just a proof. But here's a version of like what the higher quality print would look like. So this would be the moss gloss.
Let's get in the big screen, sir.
So you can see it like kind of picks up my ring light. It's very shiny, high quality paper here.
Nice.
So that's what you would get with the moss gloss tier. I've had a few people invest in that. I think it's worth it because you'll just get a better quality book. The colors pop more. Yeah, I thought like if I go to cons, like I would just give away newsprints, you know, just get it out there. You know, I want people to talk about it. I think the art really sells itself, and so much of, you know, promotion is just building awareness of the product.
Yeah.
What else? I got this. This is the first iteration of Orion here, done by JP7 on Twitter. Go
on, we're listening.
Yeah, so this is like this sticker will be given away for while supplies last, and this is the magnet. It's just an add-on you could get, the Alpha Patch.
Oh, that is that a fridge magnet or a badge for a nice denim jacket?
It's a fridge magnet. I could do a badge, or you know, I'm gonna have a patch. You know, you can put on a denim jacket.
All right. Yes. We're out at our local food market today. The local town had a food market, and we were just, you know, testing out the businesses for their sales pitch. We do it with comics people like yourself, RJ. We do it with people who've got card stores. We do it with people who've got cake stores. We're polite, but we're pressing the glass. We want to hear the business speak, and it's a way of us trying to confidently engage with a business audience. I tell you what, it's Bianca Yamakoshi, Gothic Noir artist herself. Hello, boys, checking in briefly.
Hello, thanks for joining.
Nice of you to join us, Bianca Yamakoshi. We appreciate your warm wit in the chat. And we've just been chatting to RJ about his book, Call Sign Orion. and we're working our way through in terms of stretch goals, and we're looking at a stretch goal for his good friend who has many strings to her bow in terms of she's an actress, a news reporter, a game reporter, can play instruments, so
musician, yeah,
a multi-talented person, and probably useful to have.
Writer too, yeah. I've run
well.
Yeah,
go on.
Writer too. She's given input on my scripts,
So yes, and again, in terms of cosplay down the line, maybe when the books picked up some sales and you get to a bigger con, perhaps to have somebody doing a bit of cosplay. Very popular in anime manga conventions. They do a lot of cosplay over there, and obviously you've got the LA big convention which has a lot of cosplay in it as well.
Yeah, this little con you might have heard of San Diego.
San Diego, yeah, that's the one where kind of our mind was gradually, the cog in our mind was gradually turning around. I mean, yes, we're now trailer. Do you think we should
do it?
Do it. Right, here we go. In the future, see if we can do it. But wait a minute, we've got to just take you off the stage.
Okay.
Add this to the stage, and then we do this.
There we go.
Need a 2 months of setup, folks. Here
Yeah, so that trailer's left from the the sign up list. I should probably update the text at the end. But yeah, let's call Sign Orion trailer. Now you don't have to get on the mailing list, just back it on FMC.
Absolutely. Yes. Right. So you're going to go for a custom tune, did you saying, for the trailer? You're going to go in deeper with your own music?
Yeah, I shouldn't reveal too much about who I'm working with just yet, probably, but I am talking to a real musician who I think is going to make a banger instrumental trailer soundtrack.
And that's what you want. Every bit that you can customize makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
It's about getting your inner voice out there. And yes, Bianchi Yamakoshi, today we are celebrating the 4th of July.
Even though it's the 5th.
Even though it's the 5th, but we guess the 4th of July celebration. Is it not an all weekend event?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we took a long weekend this year for it.
Yeah. So just saying, folks, got to show again that patriotic side to our show.
Thank you. Love it.
Love it. It's our Captain America T-shirt, of course. But yesterday, it's not common knowledge, but actually our patriotic, freedom-loving American cousins really helped the 5 Pillars of Storytelling out with a big surge of followers. You know what I mean? And we appreciate that. And so we'll give our official thanks to our 5 Pillars of Storytelling creative leaders later to say thank you for really pushing us along. We feel the more followers we have on X and on YouTube, the more we can shine a brighter light on creative leaders like yourself, RJ, who are trying to get exposure with the book. Great product, we've got to make great noise, and there's different ways to market. There's so much, and we still feel that maybe overall indie comics have got a bit of a ways to go to embrace the commercial side of art. It's something that we've got to grasp that nettle. We've got to use the imagination for the writing and art, great, but we've got to use tap into the same imagination for the business side of things as well. As somebody who's about to start their 10th business plan, the final one, we'll just keep this one as a living business document. We realize that there's still stuff that we're learning about even now from having looked at all the other thousands now it is of indie comic book campaigns and indie comics and creators. You're always learning, and it's trying to incorporate that into something which is efficient and can engage a target audience. But you're right, you've got space, feisty feisty females, graceful, feisty lead characters. The medic, yes. What's the medic's name again? Perhaps you could share it with our resident samurai. Sorry, katana wielding gothic noir artist. Actually, worked
okay.
on artist, and she's well. She can explain herself actually, but we always like to give a shout out. Happy to see that crown icon in my username. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, so the love interest, feisty female, that's Diana Lawson. She is a medic in the Union Navy, and she is trained to fight. She does hold her own against the hostage takers. You'll see her involved in some action. And yeah, if you're into katanas, I mean, Orion's got Wakizashi, the shorter one, so the shorter samurai sword.
Go on, keep going.
So yeah, so a little bit of Japanese influence and anime type action there. But yeah, Diana Lawson, she's from the planet Pegasus, so she's kind of like a feisty cowgirl. That's like her spirit, her attitude. She definitely can hold her own.
Yes. So the boys won't be giving her any kind of attitude for long.
For long.
They might have to behave themselves, just be quiet, go outside and play with the toys, or wear the little boy shorts and the white socks.
Yeah. There's definitely some action involved, and she gets in the fight, so it's fun.
That's it. A bit of the old kick posterior type situation. Now, about this book, who's it for? Will I like Orion? Who's it for, RJ? Are you going to read this, or am I going to do the movie voice?
Do your movie voice, please.
All right, here we go. You come in at the right time, Bianchi Yamakoshi. We're engaging the baritone. Engage. Right then, about this book. This book is written by me, RJ William, firefighter by 48-hour shift and comic book writer the rest of the time. I had the story of the diaspora universe kicking around in my head for nearly 10 years before my friend Lisa Foyles read the script and suggested I make a comic book, an indie comic book, as we like to say around these parts. That is when I began a journey that led me to meet the stoic Luke Stone and Yoda himself, Mike Barron. Now, all three of them have helped me make this book, working with a legend and a veteran in the comic book industry, or as we like to say, the indie comic book industry as it now is, because we're going to overrun them. As well as a good friend has been an honor. I hope your funding makes this book possible. Oh, yes.
Great read. Excellent delivery. And
RJ.
Yeah, thank you, Bianca, for your interest in this book. It is available on Fund My Comic. So yeah, if you could always back it whenever you're ready, and you'll receive the book. Got a lot of great tiers here. I'll show it again for the camera. One of my favorite tiers on there is the Moss Glass, extra glossy book there, higher quality paper. You can see it picking up some of the light.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Also available is the trading card. Limited availability on the trading card. That's Lena Riley, my news reporter character. Lisa Foyle, she'll be signing these cards. You'll get these free stickers while supplies last for these guys. That's the first version of Orion, kind of concept art there.
Like that. The sticker's good.
You've got the Alpha Magnet as a add-on.
Cool. Make a good pin
and
badge.
Also, I forgot to mention, also available while supplies last, these pop sockets, functional art here. They go on the back of your phone. They're a lot of fun. I've got one on my phone. They're pretty cool.
Right. See, it's as a phone holder.
Yeah, it's a phone holder. It's a stand. They make mounts you could put in your car to put on your dashboard. They're pretty great.
Yes.
Just a fun conversation starter to have, customized thing on your phone.
I tell you what, stickers, badges, fridge magnets, it's all merch. They're all revenue streams. Yeah, you sell 1,000 of them. That's a lot of pennies.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of pennies. And one day maybe I'll bring back the ships. The ships. These are a lot of fun. The F-26 Aerostar.
Ask RJ. Hey, but what's our fifth pillar of storytelling? Toys, man. Got to do it. Imagination, fun, being young again, tapping into that inner child. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Well, at least that's the excuse we use for our
Yeah.
So anyway, I tell you what, we would say merch is the way to go. If the book breaks even and makes a slight profit, your gravy is your merch. Get the revenue streams in. Go wide. Some people just have one or two merch. We'd say maybe a handful would be good. You know, in our business plan, we'd start with 5, and then you can branch out and specialize from there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Maybe. Just saying. Just maybe mention that a bit.
I'm big on merch. I have all kinds of merch ideas. It's just, a question of what's going to be realistic at first, and then we could always build out from there.
The spaceships, ask us, put an advert out for a ZBrush artist, take portfolio samples of the digital clay artwork. And then if they're accomplished, they'll be able to, if they have their own 3D printer set up, they'll be able to actually print it for you or give it you in a file format to which you can go to a third-party 3D printer and have your ships printed out and meet up with your crowdfunder campaign later. So worth looking into. Yes, Bianchi and Makoshi, we've been looking forward to this. And next, we've done about the book. Why do you indie comics? Why do you create indie comics? Why not sell your soul to Team Red or Team Blue, who aren't so big anymore? The dinosaurs are being overrun and probably being eaten in the sleep by the mammals. So we're looking at the outside our skylight, and the grey clouds of the nexus have begun to shift. We're detecting a bit of discernible sunlight. So then, why do you have indie comics? Why do you use them? And where did your journey with indie comics begin? Why not work for a corporation instead? Go, RJ.
Well, Call Sign Orion is about freedom versus tyranny in the end. It is dystopian science fiction. So, you don't want to join the dystopian force. You don't want to join the empire. You want to be a rebel. You want to be independent. That's really what it's all about, is independence. And that's why, working with FMC so closely, and that's our preferred platform. We'll be branching out to reach other audiences that are elsewhere, but we definitely prefer Fund My Comic. That's just the spirit of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's all about that spirit of independence, isn't it? If we're going to really enjoy, the old American flag and the spirit of freedom and independence, then it makes sense to go with that freedom at the wild frontier of indie comics, because you get a lot more choice, a lot more creative control. And we'd say, you're in charge of things like your own color grading, your own writing, your own artist, your own paper type. Different people like different weights of paper. And all these, there's no right or wrong indie comic business plan. It's, we would say, it's a matter of individual choice, and you can compete with in a nice, friendly, shoulder-to-shoulder, bit of friction. You can compete in a way that is friendly and supportive. A rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh yeah, that's part of the fun, has been meeting other artists and being on their channels, like John's Longbox. I talk to him a lot, and he's got a very different story than I have. He's got a kind of superhero story in the spirit of classics that, like, he would read on his Sunday morning show from the 70s, 60s through 80s. And mine's is, I have a science fiction action book, so very different stories, and that's part of the fun, is seeing what people are bringing to the table.
I mean, yes, you can have 1,000 different indie creators. There are thousands of indie creators. In the last 3 years, it's been an avalanche, and thousands more we haven't spotted. Traditionally, you think of, right, there's 7 big corporate companies that basically own the American comic market, yeah? But there are thousands of people in that 1 to 200. That's where Peter Sametti and his new print, classic newsprint style of printing is going, yeah? Outsourcing covers. And if you want newsprint, newsstand style, Peter Smith is doing it for you. That specializes in that 1 to 200 bracket, and we would say he's going to make gangbuster money because there's lots of people who will only print between 1 and 200 copies to last them maybe a convention. If we go to 4 conventions in a month, one each Saturday, 4 Saturdays, 50 copies for each Saturday. You've got 200. You probably sell out of them in a month, maybe, give or take. So not many print companies specialize in that, but he's doing it. He's doing newsstand or newsprint with a digital print on demand setup, which is clever. So he's mixing the old with the progressive new. That to me, it's a shockwave. You've got Luke Stone, and for my comics, then you've got Peter Sametti doing progressive newsstand printing. Game, set, match. Those are your 2 twin towers, your 2 pillars. Foundational, man.
Yeah, and I do plan on using that eventually, like when the book's complete, just to blast it out there to people and get the book in a lot of people's hands. I think newsprint's going to be huge.
Absolutely. It can be born again as Phoenix rising from ashes. Yeah,
that's right.
What advice, RJ, would you give to aspiring creators?
I think it's all about networking. Stay clean, stay out of the drama, make friends, not enemies, bring something unique to the table. Because that's what's going to, make you stand out to your fellow creators and to your backers and to your audience. Bring something valuable, unique, and find people that you could really trust and work with.
Absolutely. That's nailed on advice. Bring something unique to the table and network. Yeah. So you've got your product, make it unique, then network out of it. So it's, again, great product, great noise. Yeah. Do something unique. Be yourself. Just be yourself. For all your reader, that's what they want from you. They want you to be committed and loyal to yourself, to your inner truth. Not anybody else out there. Just look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. That's what your reader wants. Somebody who is loyal to themselves and their idea. Yeah. And then network and network. You'll find other people out there, the wild frontier of indie comics, that are struggling to do exactly the same thing. And if you band together people like that, many hands make light work. 1,000 people around that Sisyphean boulder, all of a sudden we can start it moving. Down the valley, it'll take care of itself. Up the valley, probably 1,000 shoulders should do it.
There we go.
There we go. Now, what superhero would you be, RJ?
I really, it's probably not a common answer, but I think I would choose Charles Xavier.
Interesting.
I like him because I think he's just underrated. He's got like a sort of godlike power. You could enter anybody's brain, control anyone he wants, but he chooses not to. And he assembles the X-Men. He's kind of like their father figure. That's who I would want to be like. I think that's like a good aspiration.
Yes, X-Men, Xavier, almost like Jack Kirby and his prodigal children, isn't it? He's Jack Kirby was very much the father of a lot of those characters, and he didn't get enough mention for it. You hear X-Men mentioned a lot, but you don't get his name mentioned a lot in association with it. It didn't magically happen, did it? I mean,
no, it didn't.
If you're doing art, you're doing at least half the book, aren't you? So Jack Kirby did a lot for the House of Ideas. Some might say the house that Jack built with his ideas.
Right.
It's not being controversial, just saying. Gotta give Kirby a shout out, being the king and all. Right then, bonus questions. Not many here, RJ. What are your plans for Orion going forwards? Is there going to be a second issue?
Oh, yes. I'm already working on the next issue. It's going to be a 2-parter. So this is a 42-page story. I'm going to cut the length in half for the next one, and I'm just going to release it in 2 parts. Working title is Labyrinth, because you're going to be introduced to a labyrinth of interests, of corruption, of villains. You're going to learn more about the world that the story takes place in. I think this first book, Call Sign Orion, is a great intro to the diaspora universe, and then you're going to learn more about it, and you're going to be introduced to some very interesting villains and factions that aren't in this first book, and it's just going to make the story deeper and more of a tangled web, you could say.
So for issue 2, we're going for a deeper tangled web, and so things are going to get really intriguing if you back the first book. Yes, it's got somewhere it's going to be going.
Oh yeah, it's going somewhere. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right then. Favorite pizza, RJ?
People are going to hate me for this. Very controversial.
You're going to say pineapple, aren't you? Is it
pineapple with jalapeno? Very, very West Coast American answer right there. It's a very California thing to say. Yeah, pineapple, jalapeno. That's the way to go.
I'll tell you what, we've got scrambled egg and avocado waiting for us. We managed to get half of it eaten, and we thought, crikey, we're full. It's surprising how filling avocados are.
So you like the California breakfast? See, I was basically raised on that, and I like the English breakfast too. But I see where there's a little breakfast crossover going on.
Well, I'll tell you what, far from us being accused of being California breakfast eater, I mean, we're just teasing about. For us, a pizza right now would certainly hit the spot. You give us, I don't know, chicken and mushroom with quadruple cheese and buffalo chicken on top, and I mean, it's either that or we start eating our left hand. Don't worry, folks, that isn't our drawing hand. It looks like our right hand, but this is our right hand. It's just the way the camera reflects. And we just had we thought, what can we eat before we go on the show that's quick and easy to do? So we thought we'd go for scrambled egg and avocados in our quest to reduce our waistline, you know what I mean, and be a little bit more svelte. And but then we ended up with half the avocado and eating half the scrambled egg and eating. We thought, crikey, we'll have to have that as our dinner pot later.
Breakfast for dinner is very underrated. I love breakfast for dinner every now and then.
Yeah. I tell you what, right now we fancy pizza. Now you brought it up. No, we brought it up. Right then, where can they find out more info about call sign Orion?
Other than Fund My Comic, which I highly encourage you to visit and check out the call sign Orion page. You could find more about me on my Substack. I do post every now and again on Substack. It's how I communicate with my mailing list. It's the best way to interact with me besides Twitter.
Substack, and
I am pretty active on X. So X, Substack, those are good platforms to find me on.
So Substack's good because it's almost like your newsletter.
Right, exactly. That's how I use my Substack as, and X, I'm on all the time.
Well, yeah, same here actually with us in the 5 Pillars Storytelling. We're always kind of seeking growth and trying to promote and create a bigger storytelling community. Right now, we're focused on growth and trying our best to graciously, gently, and generously help the indie comic community as best we can. 50,000 posts, and we're still going strong. Today, we just moving this StreamYard interface out the way. We are currently on 3,465 followers, and number 35, and we hit the 3,500 mark after almost 3 years, not so about 2.5 years. So we're kind of enjoying getting bigger, and just seeing you can actually look at the diagnostics on the impression numbers, the eyeballs, and see when you actually promote something, what effect it has, and you can almost guess what impressions and what eyeballs you can bring to a comic, given its popularity in the market. You can. It's interesting to see how the algorithm works. It's taken a long time to. I won't say we perfectly learned it, but we can now see measurable effects in terms of having more followers and what buttons we press in terms of which indie comics we promote. For example, the late night indie comic love. We try and put as many into that now as we can, rather than just having 1 or 2. Sometimes we'll do 1, sometimes we'll 2 to mix it up, but we sometimes put in between 8 and 10 books just to try and give them all a bit of exposure. Almost taking the shop in the hard pinned and putting it in a soft pin overnight for 16 hours worth of exposure. So it goes out there, not just under our hard pin and staying static, but firing it out there and seeing what kind of response it gets. So we do actually see that depending which book you place at the top and which book is placed at the bottom can get more exposure than the ones in between. So we try and rotate the book so everybody gets a piece of the cake, so to speak.
Nice. Yeah.
So Substack is a mailing list thing, and I tell you what, sounds like the 5 Pillars of Storytelling should be doing that. So 5 Pillars of Storytelling, you need to get to Substack land for a newsletter real soon. What do you think, RJ?
I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it. Let's do it and start building, yeah? How many followers have you got in your Substack newsletter, RJ?
I'd say maybe close to 70 now.
So it's coming along nicely, yeah? You break the 100 soon. You break the 100 soon. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Right then. Next one is thank you for being our special guest, RJ.
Thank you for having me.
No, a pleasure to have you on board, and very positive, lots of energy, lots of stoic conviction and passion about your book. We wish you well and Godspeed, RJ William. And please, we would say, folks, please like, comment, and subscribe, not just to the 5 Pillars of Storytelling here on YouTube, but on X as well. Check out RJ's book on his X, on From My Comic. Check out his Substack. And it just takes a second of your time to like, subscribe. It's just another way of describing a like when you log into YouTube. It's free to do. And every follow counts. We call it the power of one. Makes a big difference. Everyone counts. The numbers 1, 2, 5, 7, 10. Repeat. 25, 50, 75, 100. Repeat. 125, 150, 175, 200. Rinse and repeat, and so forth. Yeah, these are the bulkheads of your Starship Enterprise, or your Battlestar Galactica mothership.
There you
go.
Got
to put the shoulder into the bulkhead of the numbers. So, RJ, thank you again for coming on our humble show. We appreciate you taking your time and your positive voice.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to play some of our joyful outro music. We can get it onto the stage. Here we go. Are you ready? RJ, great having you on board, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Here we go. Well,